Hey, what's up, Black America Web Crew? This is your boy Keenan Higgins, and I'm here with the lovely young talent, Kylee D. Allen. What's going on?
Hi, thank you for having me.
Nice to meet you. I'm very, very impressed by your talents. First and foremost, I've read a little bit about you, and I heard that you are inspired by both Disney and Nickelodeon, whereas this role is anything but that. So I just wanted to know, like, what attracted you to do this role, or what just inspired you to want to even go for it?
This was one of my first big gigs, and I was very proud of myself for booking this because at first I auditioned for another role, but then they called me back, and then I booked Molly. So I was very proud of myself, and it was very easy to connect with my character Molly, since I know the scene was like in the 1800s, but the reality on the set was so real and it was so easy to connect to my character.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about like that set life. Did you have any apprehensions about like, being one of the youngest cast members on the set? Did you feel intimidated, by all the adults around, or like, what was your feelings like?
The adults on set, everybody on set was very fun. We were kind of like a big family, and there was a lot of background kids on set, even the kids that had main roles on set. I loved them, and I felt like we all connected very well. Everybody was so friendly, and I was the youngest on set, but I fit in very well.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, okay. So one of the things, and this is a show that deals with some really, really deep subjects, and it takes you back to a time when our people were treated very, very inhumane. And so for you, when you got to the set that first time, your first time on the set, and you were taken back to like like you said, the 1800s in that era, and you're on the cotton fields, or you're in these instances where you're seeing what Black people had to go through in real life at that time. What was that like for you emotionally?
It was very tough to see, and even if you watch the series, if you haven't already, go watch it. Most of the scenes were very tough, but I wasn't really, the kids really weren't on set that part, but the scenes that I was on, there was one scene that was very harsh, and it was a lot seeing what my ancestors went through back then, but it was reality back then, so it's crazy.
Yeah. Where do you was this is this your first time like kind of learning about slavery and stuff like that, or did you like learn about it in your homeschool, in a school, or anything like that, or what was your like initial kind of knowledge on like our history?
When in school, we really learned about history, but definitely filming the Underground Railroad, I learned more about it and more, even though it's a little bit fictional, I learned more facts about it. But history, it really helped for like the background thinking and the background situation for filming.
Yeah. What were some of the things that, again, because this is a very, very like sensitive and touchy subject, what were some of the things that you and your cast members did to kind of like alleviate some of that stress on the set, like in between takes?
Between takes, we had times where we would go under tents, or everybody would maybe have their own sections of space, and you could take bathroom breaks or crafty. But what definitely helped me is going to school, and everybody was in their own sections. You could be in different rooms, and everybody was very quiet. There was teachers that made sure, like nobody was talking, everybody was focused. So that's what definitely helped me, I would say.
Cool. And I know that a few shows that particularly deal with trauma, especially when it deals with like Black people and slavery, they usually have like a counselor on the set to kind of like guide you through and like get you through some of those issues. Like, was there somebody on set like that for you for your team?
Yes, there definitely was. There was a couple people. The teachers, they kind of helped me. There was counselors on set. They really helped me. And, I had my mom by my side, and most of the time she could be on set. So that definitely helped me, and it very helped my situation because sometimes I would get a little bit overstressed, but as long as you have somebody there to help me, I was fine.
Yeah. Who were some of the people that inspired your performance in this role specifically? Because you just carry such a maturity and such a level of comfortability in the role where it's like, sometimes when you look at younger actors, you can almost see that young precociousness in them. Whereas with you have such a maturity. And I just want to know, like, what did you pull from like to get to that level?
I I definitely watched the movie Harriet, and I saw the details because some of the kids, and definitely the woman that played Harriet. So that kind of helped me. And then Tuso, she was very inspiring because I saw her do some of her scenes, and it's very easy when you connect with the character Molly because, like I said, the set and Barry, he was very helpful, and he made me feel very comfortable.
Very cool. Okay. Now, this is a mini series. Well, not a mini series, but like the first season is what, 10 episodes, right? What was one episode that stood out to you the most, whether you were in it or you weren't? Yeah, just talk to me a little bit about that.
Definitely the first episode. I don't want to say too much because you have to go watch it, but it was definitely the first episode because I didn't expect it to go that far, especially in the first episode. But it's definitely a hook and a cliffhanger for you to watch the rest of the season, like the series. So I would definitely say that was the first episode.
I gotta agree. It was so crazy because I was watching that first episode, and halfway through, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna watch this show anymore. I can't. This is too much. But then, as I kept watching, I was like, okay, I'm a little bit hooked. And by the end of that episode, I was like, okay, I gotta watch it. And then when I saw, like you said, that reel that kind of tells you about everything that happened, and you get to see that it's not just about the trauma, it's about the triumph as well. And so yeah, I think we both can like hopefully influence a lot of people to stick to it, because it actually leads me into my next question that I wanted to ask you, and this is a bit of a deep question, so answer it how you want. But some people, when they look at shows like Underground Railroad, or for instance, like, I don't know if you've seen them yet, or a show like Harriet, or a movie like Harriet, or a movie like 12 Years a Slave, they tend to see that as like, oh, it's a torture pleasure for people who like to see Black people in pain. And it's just like, there's one level of telling the truth and telling reality, but then there's another level where people think that it's almost to an excess. And I want to ask you, where do you fall in that?
I would definitely say, like what you said, how like people like to see how people live back then, the whole torture situation. I would definitely say, even though Underground Railroad, it's a little bit fictional, because like Cora rode on the train at her different stops. That was fictional because the slaves back then, to escape, they didn't use the train. But I would definitely say the Underground Railroad is about like what the people went back through then, like I said, my ancestors, and how reality was. And even though it's fictional, I just really want people to see how Black people lived back then. It was crazy.
Yeah, and it's something that is so important for us to see, because you might be out here now having a good time talking about turn up, or going to the mall or whatever you little young 11-year-olds do. But it's just like there's a level of understanding where we came from, and understanding that it wasn't always a walk in the park, and that we had to go through a lot to get to this point. So yeah, it's very, very, again, it all speaks back to your maturity. And I think that leads me to my next question, which is, what is one of the greatest pieces of advice that you received from an actor with a little bit more experience than you?
I know Cora, she's like a small actress, but now she's big in the beginning. She gave me advice. She told me that you have to be very natural. In that case, you have to connect with your character. And she really helped me. And even Barry, I know he's not an actor, but he's a director, producer. And he gave me some advice, which is that I already booked the character and role of Molly, so there is no need to be nervous. Let me flow better and look way better on camera.
That's really good advice. Okay, so now spinning it around, what is a piece of advice that you would give to somebody that's either in your position, or I know there has to be so many child stars who are inspired to get into acting, and they might see you in this role and see like, oh, I want to go for powerful roles. So what was some advice that you would give to someone trying to break into young Hollywood?
Probably that getting a role or booking a role, it's a lot of process, and you will get declined, or, not really rejected, but you won't hear back from roles that you audition for sometimes. And it is a little bit hard, but as an actress, I kind of like used to it. So I just want to give out to the upcoming actresses that it is a lot to go through, but as long as you have somebody there by your side, even if it's yourself, just inspire yourself and say that you can do it, because that's what gets you through it.
I like that. Oh, we got bars too. Okay. All right. And so speaking of roles, now we're talking about acting roles. Let's jump out of Underground Railroad for a little bit, and let's just talk about your career. What are some roles that you can see yourself landing in the hopefully near future, or like even in the foreseeable, like 10 years from now?
Definitely like a horror type of, or like a scary set, or like even a scary movie, a scary show. I definitely want to be in Stranger Things, because not all of it's scary, but some of it's fake, and I just wanted to see how it is on set. And I know there's a movie with The Conjuring. I wanted to see how that works too. I just wanted to see how like it works on set, the makeup and everything. I just think it's so cool, and I really love scary movies and horror movies. So I think that would definitely work for me.
Oh, okay. Okay. So now here's my thing though. If you are in a scary movie, are you going to be the villain? Are you going to be the damsel in distress? Like, do you be the hero? Like, what's your ideal role in this horror film?
I would definitely say like a victim, or I would love to be in a plot twist. Like a plot twist where like I'm supposed to be the victim, but then I turn out to be the bad guy. Or like I'm clueless and then I'm working with the villain. Or just something cool.
Okay, I like that. Okay. So now that we are now in imaginary world, like who are some of the directors that you may want to work with in the future?
I would want to work with Barry Jenkins again. Definitely.
Oh, that's nice.
Probably can't really think of anybody else, because I'm really new to this acting business. But if it wasn't a director or producer and it was just like an actress, I would definitely say Zendaya, because that's who I kind of looked up to. Black woman kind of growing up. She was definitely my inspiration on TV. Like I said, Disney shows, a little bit of Nickelodeon, but mostly Disney. So definitely her. And to see where Zendaya is at right now, that's where I definitely want to be when I grow up.
That's amazing. And one thing I do want to ask you about, just because we're kind of like talking about a little bit of everything, I noticed that you proudly rock your curls. And that's something that I think is so amazing for somebody your age to be representing and to like putting out there. So is that like a conscious thing for you? Or is that just like, oh, this is just a bad hair day, or just a good hair day, or this is my hair day, or how I want? Like, how do you, like, what is that a conscious thing when you're going into roles, or when you're just kind of like getting dressed every day? Like, what's that like?
Honestly, I feel like my hair really embraces myself, and it's kind of my style. And my curls sometimes, like if I leave it out for a while, they get poofy, but most of the time, I have to wash and brush it. And if I straighten my hair, I don't know if you saw on my Instagram page, but it's very long. So I sometimes, I get really frustrated and have my bad hair days, so I just want to cut it all off. But most of the time, my mom's here to help with my curls. So yeah, it's definitely a blessing having this much of a hair and having it healthy.
Yeah. Don't go bald like me. You got a whole head of hair. You got a whole life to live with your hair. So, but yeah. So we can wrap this up, and I just wanted to tell you that you are just doing amazing things just with this role, and I believe that you have a really, really great career in Hollywood, moving forward. Is there anything that you want to say to either people your age or just any actor out there? I feel like any actor, because I'm inspired by you, so I feel like any actor from any age could be inspired by your story. So is there any like lasting thing that you want to say to people as far as just like who are inspired by acting, or maybe may come to this role and again be a little bit apprehensive about the subject matter? I'll leave the floor to you. Just kind of like say what you want to feel.
Definitely, like I said earlier, just have your inspirations and just don't give up. That's the key. Just don't give up. And as long as you have somebody by your side, even if you don't, just know that you got it. Anything you put your mind to, at least try it. It may not work, but my career did. So I'm really proud of myself, and I definitely had a good inspiration growing up, and I was growing up with my family, and they definitely inspired me, because there's some times where I get really frustrated. I just want to quit acting, like I'm done. but they say, I know you're not for real. I'm not taking you seriously. So I'll give you, a couple of days just to think it out. And if so, they still support me with whatever I do. So family, definitely a blessing.
I love that. And we can end it right there. I think we can, like, family and hard work and just determination is things that just represent you and your career. And I think that you have a long way to go out here. So congratulations.
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for having us. And we look forward to seeing you in much, much more roles. And we will definitely be watching. So hopefully we do this again soon and in very, very near future when you're like starring in the next season of Stranger Things.
Hope so.